Baby, I'm coming home. These videos are satiric reviews. You don't have to agree, but don't bitch about it.
Hey there, I'm social injustice warrior V Infuso. And you know who I was a big fan of in the later 2000s and early 2010s? Mark Henry. I mean, sure, the guy's career got off to an iffy start. I mean, he came into the company, was briefly heavily pushed until they realized, maybe this isn't the greatest ideas, but we already paid the guy a shitload of cash. And then he ultimately fell into a comedy gimmick throughout the Attitude Era as Sexual Chocolate. And to be fair, that gimmick was undoubtedly memorable in its own right, as was his time with China, and Mae Young, and D'Lo Brown. He did well in that position, but all of that would be a thing of the past around 2003, where he was finally pushed as a dominant threat. Of course, his gimmick would continue to evolve over the years, but one thing remained the same from this point on. He was an unstoppable force, and one of the most dominant men in WWE. His opponents would become nothing more than victims in his Hall of Pain. And from 2003 to 2013, the World's Strongest Man would win both the ECW World Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. Now a multi-time world champion and one of the longest employed men currently on the roster, most wrestling fans were conscious that it was only a matter of time before the big guy retired. And on June 17, 2013, dressed like he skinned the Pink Panther for that dress suit, interrupt John Cena's typical end-of-the-night promo, looking incredibly emotional. As Cena went to take his leave, Mark instead insisted he stay as there was something he wanted him and everyone in the back to hear. I remember being really invested in this. I mean, no one had ever seen Mark Henry look like this before. And it didn't seem like this was scripted. This didn't seem like a work. This seemed very shoot. It seemed very real. Henry came to the ring looking heartbroken, and for a moment we've seen him more human than he'd ever been booked to look before. Mark wiped tears from his eyes while looking out to the crowd in awe and taking a moment in to breathe. The crowd chanted his name in retaliation, understanding the gravity of whatever it was he was about to announce. Henry looked to the crowd once more with a deep appreciation for the audience and then back at John Cena before telling him that at the rate he's going to become the greatest WWE champion of all time, before briefly mentioning that becoming WWE champion was an honor that he never had.
I've had a lot of success. I mean, nothing like the success that John had, but I think I've done pretty good for myself.
It was then Mark announced his real reason for coming out and speaking to the audience.
Which leads me to the reason that I'm out here, to formally retire from the active roster of the WWE.
The man came within an inch of sobbing with the announcement, and he wasn't the only Mark nearly in tears at the moment either. Trust me, I know. A friend told me. Mark thanked the crowd for their response and called them one of the greatest crowds he's been in front of in the last 5 years. Cena, the then WWE champion, handed his belt over to Mark as a symbol of respect and admiration for the man and all his accomplishments. Henry tested his name as the world's strongest man by nearly breaking down as he picked up the title and taunted to the crowd's delight. The audience continued to applaud the big man in one of the most heartfelt moments in WWE history. Tears trickled down the big guy's face, and he began to struggle to get his words out. He thanked his wife, his son, and his daughter before telling them that he was coming home.
To my beautiful wife, Jana, I think you'll see more of me than you want to. And to my son, Jacob, my little girl, Joanna, who cries when I leave home, baby, I'm coming home.
He even slipped in a Mae Young reference for good measure.
To my beautiful wife, Jana, and I'm not Mae Young, dummy.
This was one of the most well put together and thought out retirement speeches I'd ever heard in my life, where we learned more about the man than we did the wrestler. It was an impressive promo and honestly a roller coaster of a ride. And despite the fact that he was obviously distraught about ending his career when he was ending it, he was charming enough to get the crowd to chuckle. Cena raised Henry's hand as a final nice gesture to cap off Henry's career, and one of the most real moments in professional wrestling history. The two went to hug when Henry suddenly took advantage and slammed Super Cena down onto the mat, completely fooling the audience in attendance and me watching at home. The world's greatest heel would remove the suit jacket Vince McMahon lent him and held up the WWE Championship, announcing that it would be his soon. And to me, this is one of the most underrated heel turns in all of wrestling. Henry tricked everyone into thinking this was his farewell. This was his goodbye to the wrestling world. And we're not just talking the fans in attendance, we're not just talking me watching at home, we're talking even some of the boys in the back. Apparently Big Show being one of them, who shed a few tears in the process and then felt like an idiot immediately after.
You believe just like John Cena and them people believe. I had y'all all fool, y'all a bunch of puppets.
This is one of the most memorable moments to ever come out of the PG era. The way he convincingly gave his farewell speech, all to just turn around and make you feel stupid for feeling anything for him at all. What might be the most unfortunate thing about this is that Henry would go on to lose that match against Cena, thus never capturing the championship, and truthfully, I think that was a mistake, as Henry was already a successful enough heel, but was also gaining even more credibility for his complete manipulation of a goodbye. In my opinion, I think this would have been the time to pull the plug on Cena's run and afford it to Mark Henry. The man deserved that accolade. Regardless, win or lose, we were given an unexpected and more than serviceable moment in Mark Henry's career, and personally, I thank him for it. So with that being said, I'm the Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso, and if you like the words that came out of my mouth hole and you too want to become a VTard, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this video came from. Follow me on Twitter because, hell, why not? It's not considered stalking if it's on the internet, am I right? And don't forget to join the Discord. I don't have anything catchy to add to that, but just join it. Just go do it. And if you have a free moment of time and a free dollar to spare, then head over to my Patreon, where for just $1, you too could help keep this boat afloat. And if you don't have that dollar, but you do have a free moment of time, then hit the share button. It will help me out tremendously.
VTart, oh.